Almacore Branco entered the gondola yard with a trepidation he hadn't felt in years. It wasn't exactly fear, more of a wariness of the unknown and a sense he was about to do something stupid. Riding in a basket lifted by nothing but hot air just seemed like a bad idea. The sound of playing children distracted him. A brother and sister ran around the base of another gondola, each chasing the other. One word from their father, and they leapt to attention. He threatened, "You settle down there, or you'll be riding lashed to the bottom." The ploy backfired, as both children thought that riding on the bottom of the balloon was a brilliant idea. If those children were so at ease, Almacore vowed to show no fear. It couldn't be more dangerous than clearing a nest of wyverns or facing down a 40-foot mutatroll. The balloon began to rise, taking the middle-aged ex-adventurer with it. The ground receded, gondola yard shrinking away below, as they began to move through thermal layers, some warmer, some cooler. Then they rose past 1,000 feet. Almacore realized the sky had changed. Their angle relative to the sun's was flattening. The sky was beginning to take on structure that he wasn't used to seeing. It was less static, like a layer of dynamic existence was becoming visible. At 2,000 feet, a bank of clouds blotted out the nearest source of heavenly light, and the wonders of the astral plane resolved at the flick of a switch. A Wickman ribbon, like a river of neon blue and purple, brought a tear to his eye for its beauty. It had been visible from the ground for a week, but not like this. He was only beginning to explore the rest of the sky when he realized they were approaching their destination. The unreal sight of the Chandelier Pines was closing fast. Conifers up to 400 feet tall, rooted in a node of elemental earth, breaking through the ethereal meniscus and penetrating right down into the pocket dimension of Ninswetta. I'm Lewis Nichols. Hello and welcome to World Building Essentials and Exercises. This is what 2 votes gets you on the community poll. Something weird. We do 2 things on this channel. First and foremost, we world build. This is one of those videos, and you can adapt the ideas to pretty much any fantasy setting. We also do a lot of Dungeons & Dragons stuff, so you're probably going to feel the influence. I am glad you're all here, no matter what the cause. Hit that like button, say hi in the comments, and subscribe if you haven't already. Now let's get back to it. Almacore steps out of his gondola, but doesn't feel any better about his situation. The balloon is now moored at the end of a pier stretching out into the void. One misstep and its maximum velocity all the way to the ground. He now knows what his agent meant when she cackled, "If you can handle your ups and your downs getting all turned around, you'll be fine." He realizes the pier is the underside of a limb. Deeper in the forest, things grow denser, creating the base for buildings connected by streets and paths, all enslaved to the will of the upside-down trees. His guide meets him at the docks, a representative of the city government. They're excited to have him, but not as the artisan he has become or wants to be. He's come to retire, but inactive warriors are highly recruited by towns and cities all across any civilized land. He's not a town guard, but it's a good bet, if there's trouble, that they're going to call on him. Almacore knows the game, and he doesn't mind it. In the meantime, he's getting free rent at a workshop and a guaranteed retail outlet for his goods. They travel for a mile through the strange urban space. Rope walkways and the occasional skytram connect isolated limbs. A rope lift gains them 50 feet in just minutes. The routes around town seem limited at first, but there are options everywhere. Near their destination, he even notices a man selling magic carpet rides for people with money to pay. Nova Rheal is a city of 20,000. Humans are a large component, but there are a lot of others around as well. Flying Volito are common, including Arachocra, fairies, and the Shinari, a halfling version of the Arachocra. In addition, while it's not exactly common, there are an unusual number of Aasimar around. There are gliders too, specifically the Barandiku. They are a species something like an anthropomorphized flying squirrel. The second most notable unusual population are the Githyanki. Harboring a population of thousands, this is one of the largest groupings in the Pellicar multi-universe. Here, Githyanki are not raiders or mercenaries. They are mothers and fathers, shop owners, and laborers. Finally, there are the simian species. The Monkey here are thin and tall, with arms made for speedy travel through thick canopies. The feel of Nova Rheal is thoroughly metropolitan, where anything not overtly harmful to others goes unregulated. The Chandelier forests as a crossroads. As mentioned in this video and others, Ninswetta is a pocket dimension barely separated from the astral. It might be easiest to picture it as an egg turned on its side. Remove the top 30% of the shell. Now look down at the egg. The white is the ocean surrounding the continent. The city of Nova Rheal and the forest around it sit on the inside lip of the shell where you just remove the top. The shell itself is the ethereal meniscus, and the space beyond, the astral. This isn't a perfect analogy. Eggs rarely are. The meniscus is very thin here. You can pass through quite easily compared to most other planes. From the hanging pines of the Chandelier forest, there are places where you can step out onto the ethereal and in short order walk right to the astral without need of a spell. Within a week's journey of Nova Rheal, you come to your first astral settlements and find yourself on the Thunder Road, one of the great common routes of the connective plane where all other planes exist. Fantasy economics. There are a lot of ways an adventurer can set themselves up for retirement. PCs don't think much about it because they are the most driven of their ilk. For them, it's a game. Duh. Not many worry about what their barbarian is going to do when the campaign is done. Most adventurers, however, are looking for the long term. They're hoping to serve some time, survive the dangerous stuff, and get out young, rich, and alive. If you're on a high development world, you can do this through investment. Don't spend your treasure hauls. Spend the money. The money from your treasure hauls makes you. In other words, create an investment income. This isn't available in most fantasy worlds, however. The more usual method is using some of those superhero skills for long-term productivity. This might mean expertise or even a custom feat to improve some trade skill. Almacore Branco had a plan, and he stuck to it. In his final years of adventuring, he sought out highly magical stoneworking tools, gained exceptional training from some badass stone giants, and delved into the deepest dungeons to uncover the formulas for a number of magical devices. Now he spends his time doing basic stonework. Well, very high-quality basic stonework. But that's just his bread and butter. A couple of times a year, he now makes batches of flight-related figurines of wondrous power. Death of a neighborhood. Did you know trees died? It's a big deal if you're living in the branches of a forest 2,000 feet above the ground. The Church of the Divine Spirits and the municipal government sees over the complicated process of culling. Remember, we're using the gods in the face of Eberron for Ninswetta. This particular church follows the basic tenets of the spirits of the past. True to its roots, the clergy is primarily elven. City services trim dead limbs and see to the removal of pine dander. If you've ever lived in a forest full of pine trees, let me assure you, it's a thing. When the decline of a tree becomes more severe, a process of condemnation begins. First, no new construction is allowed on the tree. Limbs are removed over years as residents are relocated. Eventually, the dying tree is topped as safely as possible, sometimes allowing limb-stripped timbers to plummet to the ground like giant spears. Nova Rheal exists on hundreds of trees, even more when you look at the smaller outlying homesteads and communities away from the city. The process of culling is much like road construction in the big city. There is a constant degree of turmoil as pathways are closed and new ones opened. Beyond Nova Rheal, the city does dominate the thickest part of the Chandelier Forest, but there are a few thousand square miles of more scattered trees. These are the homes of birds, feral fairykin, and pocket dragons. Faddle monkeys. These small monkeys are a common sight in the forest and in the city. They are extraordinary climbers and leapers. They are in fact the go-to choice for many druids when looking for a wall-shaped form when a difficult climb lies ahead. They are easily made into pets, but also exist in the wilds in colonies of up to 50. Lint dragons. Most forms of pocket dragons are at least somewhat friendly. Lint dragons are not. They revel in death and love nothing more than to feed on the shattered corpses of prey they have frightened into falling to their deaths. They are only CR3, but have one deadly method of attack. 3 times a day they may create a minor illusion. Their preferred tactic is to create a false step or handhold, leading to a traveler's doom. Canopy recluses. These deadly spiders have evolved to blend into the backdrop of pine needles. They are giant spiders as found in the back of the monster manual, but with a DC 15 save and an extra D4 poison damage. Make them DC 2, just to be fair. So, if I ever break down my videos by biome, should this one go in forests, urban, or weird stuff? Because you know if I'm going to have categories, one of them is going to be weird stuff. We are unfortunately all out of weird for now. If you're a subscriber, thank you. If you're not one, I hope I've earned that today. As of this video, I'm creeping up on 300. I might even make money at this someday. In the meantime, I've hopefully given you 1 or 2 good ideas for your own projects. Each and every one of you are important to me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. Cheers.